All right, what's going on, guys? Hey, I haven't made a video like this in a while. I've been trying to stay away from the spiritual stuff. Too weird because I don't want people to like get the wrong idea in the channel. And obviously, like I hit all the old spiritual videos about using magic and stuff like this, right? But I still do it, okay? And whether it's magic or whatever you have, whatever spiritual belief you pray to God, you pray to Jesus. It's all the same stuff. It's just energy, right? And while there may be characters or energies that you pray to, you have to be careful, you have to be careful with like doing that, right? So what am I talking about? Okay, I'm talking about what's happening right now over in the redistrict the redistricting of whatever's happening in Tennessee. Okay, so what's happening right now is that basically they're trying to revote, they're trying to like move things around for the upcoming election. Okay, which is really a ritual anyway to say who should we elect as our representative, which is fake anyway. But if you want to play that game, you're going to really fall into the frame and you got no energy or power over that situation anyway. Okay, but they're trying to say here's who can have rights, who can't have, or who's going to have representation, who's not going to have representation. Okay, in reality, this stuff really doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter if it's a white guy, doesn't matter if it's an Asian guy, doesn't matter who it is. What matters is the person had the right spirit or not. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, most of the time Republicans are going to be more logical and left brain. Democrats are going to be more right brain, but they're still very left brain kind of guys, right? Because if you're doing Democrat, they're going to do more globalist activities. They're going to do more. How do I say this? The Republicans are more about and self-sufficiency and performance for yourself, right? If you're doing Democrats, it's about the government taking care of you. Anytime the government takes care of you, you have to understand that there's going to be somebody who wants to take that position and they're going to abuse you. Okay, there has been sayings about like Bill Gates, how they manufacture a lot of these like diseases. Like AIDS is one of the, was it HIV is one of those things. It was like made in a lab on purpose to basically infect the local the blacks, right? That's why they try to make black people gay. They said, how can we do it? They made some kind of drug for it, where they started calling it the gay virus, right? And then it was like something else. Then it eventually became HIV, right? That's how my mom died, right? Not because she's gay, but because somebody had sex, and it's this thing that eats at your immune system. So, and why would they do that? People create these things to reduce the population so they can take more of the resources because they're operating in an evil energy. Okay, you have to know that stuff, right? Now, this is what happens not when Democrats or Republicans are in charge per se. This happens when evil people are in charge. Okay, they're going to find a way to fuck with you, and you have to like know this, right? This is where you're going to have to believe in God. You got to believe in something. Believe in yourself, something. You got to believe in something because you don't know of the dangers out there, right? Now, in my lifetime, I've summoned many versions of myself for a particular moment. I prefer not to. I prefer to just be relaxed and be happy. But sometimes you need to be different versions of yourself in order to accomplish certain things. Okay? And I talked about that before. It's not really hard to bring it forward. It's just basically all the moments that you've been in your life. There was a time where I was homeless. There was a time where I was scared. There was a time where I was smart. There was a time where I was more confident, right? And you have these too. It's basically energies and moments, right? And what you can do is you can like summon these things to the surface if you know the right words. Or the right ways, right? And some people think it's a mind trick, whether it's energy and there's like unknown spirits or archons or whatever they are, or whatever this stuff is, it works. Either way, it works. It doesn't really matter. What does matter is that it works. But when you're doing it, you also have a chance to get stuck in this other state for a long time. It may take you a long time to actually get back to normal, right? This is what actors do. They'll like empty themselves and empty their personality and let the character go inside of them, right? So this is basically creating an alternate personality. Right? And what do you think, this is healthy or not? It's just what it is, right? It's just life, right? Like there's a moment where you're going to have to fight. There's a moment where you're going to have to just be relaxed. There's a moment where you're just going to be a family person. There's different moments that require different things, right? Different roles, right? Different roles. And you can summon these things. That's it, right? How do you do it? You get your body into a very relaxed state, and then you remember the time, which is like time travel. You remember the time and that you were feeling this energy, right? I could do it right now, but I want to talk a little bit more first, right? But you could do that, and then just like that, when you open your eyes, you did it. I've done it here a bunch of times on the channel, right? And you have to be careful doing this because you could basically like mess yourself up. Okay, I mean that's like you can mess yourself up, right? Now, not like in a weird way, but you're just gonna mess yourself up. Now, the higher up you go in business, the more spiritual it's going to get because you're going to need creative juices in order to kind of figure out how you're going to stay on top. Okay, you're going to need a way to protect yourself. You're going to need a way to understand energy and stuff like this, right? And most people that are successful are spiritual people. They believe in something, right? So what happens is when you get like religion, though, is very finite. It's very finite and boxed in, right? So what I mean by that, I mean that you have to operate within these parameters, right? Which is fine, but the parameters that people are operating in is the stuff that people told you to operate in, not what is, right? So when I think of Jesus, right, I'm not thinking of a white one. That's the first thing. I'm not thinking of that. I'm not thinking of him being nice, right? I'm not thinking of him being a nice guy. I'm not thinking of him doing the turn the other cheek and all the other stuff either. Okay, I don't think about it like that. I think about it as Old Testament, kick your ass kind of Bible. Okay, because I know that there's no person like this, and that don't make you a perfect person to just be a pushover, right? There's no reason for this character to have died for you. There's no reason. I understand the story, right? I understand the representation of Jesus because what he really died for, he died for truth. He died to save you. Died to save you, meaning he told the truth. And when you tell the truth, you're putting yourself at risk because people don't want you to wake up. They don't want you smart. They don't want you dumb, so they keep taking advantage of you. That's what he died. Get it? Like, that's what matters. Okay? And the enlightenment comes from his journey, which he learned different spiritual practices, and he just lived his life as a good person. That's where his experience and stuff came from. That's where it came from, right? So a lot of the stuff I believe is like, it is not really like hocus pocusy. It's actually like real. So most of the stuff I talk about is like real stuff, right? Now, a good example of this. So like there are times like where you want to have this energy. If it works for you, great. Right? Keep doing it. Just do whatever you have to do to just get through life, right? But you have to remember too that a lot of this stuff is imposed on people. So I remember my mentor, Mr. Black, he told me about how people would do, what is it? They would do, I forget what they call it, like, where they go out there, and they basically preach to you like a certain religion or whatever. Like, I don't know what that's called, whatever, right? But they go out there, they preach to you a certain religion, and then they get you to believe it, and then they convert you. I forget what it's called, missionary, I think, something like that. So he told me that basically, like, they would go around and just do this stuff, and he was like, he had a doctorate in religion, and he's like, yeah, I don't believe none of this shit, Carlos. So I was like, okay, and he was like, yeah, I don't believe none of this stuff, man. Like, this just all whatever. There's no God and whatever. I didn't go that far, but that's where he went, right? So I was just like, there's something out there, right? Even if it's just us looking at ourselves or whatever, there's something out there. Okay, there's something out there, right? But he lost his faith. I was very young at that time. Anyways, the point I'm trying to say here is that he would tell me about how they would go into a place where there was no words for fear, there's no words for damnation, there's no words for hell, there's no words for this stuff. So they had to basically say like, here's a volcano. If you don't follow these rules, you're going to go into the big fire, right? And then the person, oh my God, no, I don't want to go. It's dangerous. It's scary, whatever. So then just like that, they became followers of Jesus at that moment, right? And you have to understand that is like the game. The game is like to trick you, right? And it's not nothing wrong with like following Christ. You can want to do that if you want. Hopefully you're following like a healthy one. But most of the people that say that they follow Christ, they really don't because they're evil. How can I say that? Because you're hurting people. That's it. You're hurting people. You're a bad person, right? And you're really not following Christ. You're following something else, right? So I'm saying all that to say is that every time you are aligning with an energy, you're actually summoning this energy. You understand here? Like every time you're in alignment with another energy, You're like summoning this energy. You're attaching yourself to it. Okay. And I know I talk a lot about that as far as your clients. I talk a lot about that as far as your business and stuff like this. But that's really what's happening here. Okay. And it's not like it's a secret or whatever. They're not like going to get sick or nothing. But it's just important to know, right? So, for example, let's say, one second. Excuse me. Like, this stuff matters, okay? I want to make sure you guys have something, and then we're going to talk about how to defend yourself, okay? Let's say that you are in alignment with, okay, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff just came out recently, right? That was like very recent, maybe 3 months ago. That came out. If we are going to go into business with this person and we're going to help them accomplish their goals, we're now aligning ourselves with this evil energy. Okay, because remember they're on the bad side because they're abusing people. Nothing wrong with, I mean, I guess if you want to trade sex or whatever for food or something, like if you want to do that, that's fine. But it's the abuse. That's the problem. The problem here is abuse. Okay, when you're abusing people, not good. When you're giving people a willing shot at something they want to do, okay, right? If that, if that's what you want to do, right? Whether it's right or, I don't have an opinion on that, right? But I do have an opinion on deliberately rigging things on purpose for people to fail and then trying to get them to do something to get them out of their situation. That's what most people do. That's why they're evil. Okay. Now, when you're aligning yourself with these energies, you're also now starting to get their karma. You're sharing their karma now. Okay. They're sharing the things that come with the alignment with that energy. And you don't want to do that. You're going to end up dead. You're going to end up in jail. Your family's going to be cursed. If you have children, they're probably going to be cursed too. Because remember, this is energy. It's about energy at the end of the day, okay? And that's why I align myself with God, the Most High, and even when I'm thinking of Yah or whatever, like whatever you want to call it, the Zemis, right? Whatever energy that is very structured, very in alignment with who I am. I'm for I'm all for destroying bad guys. I'm all for it if they're actual bad guys. Right, I know that the Bible, like there's mixtures of it where they say that it's really this is the Canaanite god, this is really Molech or like whatever. Like, look, are we beating up bad guys or not? That's my main number one. Are we beating up bad guys? Like, yeah, that's okay. That's the first thing. Did these bad guys deserve it? Yeah. Okay, great. Now we're on the same team, right? So, like, there's some people that believe like, okay, the devil is like trying to free you from this thing that God wants to put you in, but really I understand this is about God's design. God don't want you to do nothing that's going to harm you. It's all about keeping you within this box, which is fine. But the issue is not about you. Like, if you want to live a good life, you're going to stay within these bounds. If you want to go outside of this, now you're outside of God's design, right? You're in something else, right? Now, what do I mean by that? If you're talking about like Zemi are basically like these like spirits, and they're like they look like little monkeys or whatever. Like people draw them. They're like living. It's like energy though, right? There's all energy. All this stuff is energy at the end of the day. But sometimes you can draw something on a piece of paper, and it'll call an energy for it. I had something over here. It was like a lion and something else. Like I had pictures on this wall here. I have win or die here. I have what's in it for me here. I have Dan Kennedy's message to market match here. I have indoctrination ahead here. I have words matter here. Get it out of your own way. The elephant, the lion. I have a lot of different things here to basically trigger me into a certain state. Okay, they're all is a way to get you to be a certain way, right? And there's even one here right here. This is why you should care, because I still care. Like I tell people to care about people, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that these are technically like Zemi, right? But they're not natural Zemi, right? They are very detailed, specific energies, okay? AKA Zemi. Some people want to call it God. Some people want to call it whatever. It's energy, okay? Now, I'm just telling you what I believe, right? Okay, this is like what I believe, right? So, the whole thing is that I needed this before. I don't really need these now, so I can kind of put them away because I know that it's a part of me. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff is a part of you at the end of the day. It's not outside of you. It's all part of you. Right? Let's talk about, I guess, Jesus, and let's talk about who else? Let's talk about one of my mentors, okay? Let's talk about one of my mentors. Let's talk about Doberman Dan. It's one of my guys, right? Or you know what? Let's talk about who's it? Let's talk about who's recent. Who's a good mentor of mine recently? Let's talk about Phil Valentine, right? Let's talk about him, okay? So, how does this work? It works like this. It works like, okay, who is this person? Who are they? Well, why do they think the way they do? The reason they think the way they do, this, that, and the other, right? And you'll be watching their videos, you're consuming their content, whatever, and you're basically actually starting to align with this person, believe it or not, right? You're basically like fusing with this person to a degree. It's just information, but the point is that if you're trying to achieve something, you're going to have to get in this other state. Okay, you don't want to change yourself entirely, but you're understanding that for the role you're going to have to play in this next part of your life, you have to have certain characteristics that you may or may not have harnessed at that point. Okay, that's what I represent. That's what Dr. Phil Valentine represents. That's what Jesus represents, or any other character that you meet. That's what they represent. This energy of here's what this thing would do. Here's what this person would do. That's why they have what would Jesus do? You get it? What would he do? Right? And if it's be nice, okay, that's what Jesus would do. Would I be nice? Probably not. Okay, I'm not going to be as nice, right? I'm going to be more. If somebody's summoning me into their life, I'm going to be more controlling. I'm a controlling person. I want to control as much as possible so I don't get abused. And I'm going to make sure that you don't get abused, right? So what's a good example of that? Somebody has a picture of me on their wall. Is going to trigger them, right? And in whatever way they needed to trigger them is going to trigger them. So this is a picture of me, and it's like, right, that's all you need. Something small or whatever, or maybe it's just like something I wrote down that was like, love yourself and don't forget, right, God, or whatever, something like that. And you're just like, oh, that's what Carl said. Yeah, you now are setting the tone for your day. This energy's here. Maybe you watch a video or something and you just put yourself in a relaxed state and you're remembering these things. You're starting to hear them in your head, right? Now you're going to start hearing them in your head. You are actually being shaped like me. You're not me, but now you're like me. Why? Because we're aligning, okay, at that point. And same thing with Dr. Phil Valentine. I align with what he says on a lot of different things, right? That's my mentor, okay? I actually believe what he says. I don't have to believe everything, but I believe what he says. So what does that happen? When I start to hear things, now I'm hearing this, I'm hearing his voice in my sleep. I'm hearing, oh yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. All this stuff. And then just like that, oh, okay, now I'm integrated. Boom. Just like that, I have this available to me to call upon on the day when I need it. That's really what summoning is at the end of the day, okay? And it's like, for example, if somebody was to do this for me, and they're going to hear these things, oh, you got to be serious, you got to be on point, you're going to have to, enjoy life, be in alignment with others, right? In the moment that, you open your eyes and you're living your life and somebody tries to test you, you're going to say, oh, that's what Carlos told me about this thing, man. And you're going to laugh, you're going to have a great time. You're like, oh, Carlos told me about that. And then you might see my face like this, right? Something like that. That's what my friends tell me. They say they hear me laughing in their heads. They're like, Carlos would just laugh at this, right? And that's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. It could be anybody. It could be your wife. It could be your kids. It could be anybody. But that's the whole point of integration. The point of it is to know what's for you, and you integrate what's for you, and you let go of the stuff that's not. If this whole Zimmy and energy stuff is not for you, then it's just not a good fit. Because maybe you're like, I don't know, maybe you're like a nurse or something or whatever, right? You're a nurse and you don't need magic, right? I need to know how much drugs to give you, like, okay, like that kind of thing. So I'm saying that because you have to be able to choose the difference between God's design and then you're choosing other people's stuff, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? God's design is all about being natural. It's about being natural, going with nature. It's all about doing what's right for you. You have been designed a very particular way according to your genetic, your makeup, your life, the way God designed you. Okay, God made you a certain way. Brown skin, light skin, orange, purple, whatever. He made it so that way you feel good with certain things and you don't feel good with other things. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But the whole thing is for you to rediscover who you are so you can be in alignment with yourself, but you can't get there without integrating other people. That's the whole point of meeting people and having relationships and all this other stuff. You have relationships with people because you're really looking at yourself. When people like watching me, they're watching themselves. They're watching a version of themselves. I'm a version of you, right? To call upon one day when you need me, right? And the people I watch, they're a version of me that I need to call upon them. You know what I'm saying here? All my mentors, my Doberman Dans, my mentor Dan Harvey, he was his mentor. My old partner, right? I don't really use that one anymore, but it was good for when it was needed, right? There was my cousin I talked about, right? There was I'm watching new people right now, right? Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett was a good one. It's hard to watch like some of the more black eccentric characters because they're always going to be like, you're going to say like, well, the white man or whatever. Cause that's what was happening back then. So I'm like, okay, I can't use all of that, but I got to use some of it, right? So, and that's okay, right? And it's important to understand that, right? And even if you're a white person and you're trying to get spiritually connected, you have to understand like it's okay to learn from your ancestors, but you got to be like, okay, what the fuck was wrong here and what was right here, right? And that's the part of like integration and calling on energy and spirits and stuff like this because it's going to integrate with you eventually. It's going to, right? And I'm not sure if white culture can do that, but that's what I do. That's like very normal for people who are from the Americas, right? North America or South America, Middle America, any of the Americas, you do things like this, right? So if I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm really just Taino, and then black, aka Indigenous American, whatever, right? So it's the same shit. Haiti is the same shit. Voodoo is the same stuff. It's just energy practice of energy. And what do you need to do? So they say, oh, I've seen somebody turn into a chicken. What do you think's happened? They're summoning a chicken into their brain, right? They're turning themselves and aligning with the chicken energy, and what happens? For whatever reason, right? Okay, nothing wrong with it, but you got to understand it. But if it won't make sense to somebody who's like if you believe in religion the typical way, it's all about going outside of yourself. And I'll draw it for a second, but it's all about going outside of yourself and worshiping. And I am nothing. I am a slave. I'm stupid. I'm just a dumb cuck the entire time. I'm nothing, and you're just worshiping, and you just come on, bow your head, and okay, now kiss my penis or my asshole, lick it a little bit first. That's gonna kill you, and you're doing anything now because you don't know what to do, and you're just like, would God really tell me to do that? It's like, he said it, and then the pastor's really just a weirdo, just fucking with you, right? But if you look inwards and be like, why would God tell me to do that? That don't make sense, because it's in here. It's in here. God says it. Jesus, whatever energies you want to believe in. It says, yeah, ye are gods. It's, it's the kingdom of heaven is within you. So it's like it depends on what you want to do. So if you're aligning with the Most High, which the character Jesus does, what happens? You get the powers. You get all the right stuff happen because he's living according to the God's design. If Jesus lives according to God's design, that's what you should be doing. The same thing, living to God's design. It's the same thing. God's a Zemi. It's the same thing. Yeah, you get it? It's all the same shit at the end of the day. But it's like, unless you know that, you're going to be doing the other thing, and then you're going to be like a slave the whole time, and you can't figure it out. Right? There's nothing wrong with just working for people and getting paid, but the whole game is to make you this slave that doesn't think. That's like the game. Okay? Now, how does this have to do with the Tennessee riot, and as well as putting a curse on people? Okay, so I'm a big believer. I don't really curse anybody, but I'll pray for them, which is the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. When you pray for bad people, you say, God, teach them what they need to know. Amen. They're gonna stub their toe. You don't got to really do nothing. That's all you really got to say. Just pray for people, right? Pray for them to wake up. They're gonna wake up eventually because they're gonna keep getting their nuts kicked in. Okay, that's really all you have to do. But it's the same thing as praying to a Zemi, or aligning yourself with the energy of the Zemi, whatever Zemi it is, right? If you are looking to have sex, right? You're looking to get your meat big. What do? You put yourself in the mood. There's an energy for that. It's the same thing. That's why basically you have people singing and all kinds of stuff. I want you to love me too, just like I love you. Yeah, put you in an altered state. And it puts you into the zone, like, right? And you have to understand that all these things are affecting you. If you're not careful, you can be hijacked, right? And the whole point is that most people have basically got disconnected from this stuff. And because you're disconnected, that's why people are changing laws, and that's why they're doing all this stuff, because everybody's not really operating correctly. You're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. Like, really, Christianity as itself is really for white people. It's a white religion. Why? Because they have hierarchy. If it's about hierarchy, it's all about them looking outward to like the alpha, the omega. You're the best. I'm nothing. You're something. That's their culture. That's who they are. As a person of the Americas, or whatever, it's all about in here, and you go through God. God comes through you, right? And that's why you raise your energy and you dance and you do all this stuff, because that's the way you're supposed to be. You can't be doing their thing, because it's not. It's just their thing. It's not your thing. I hope that makes sense. Whatever. You're not going to go to hell for it, right? Because that's their thing. Hell is their thing, right? What's probably going to happen to you? You're probably going to be a Zemi. You're gonna be your own God, probably, right? Now, what I mean by that? I don't mean like in a weird way, but you got to think about this stuff and if you think about it as energies, and maybe I'm wrong, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. This is just the way I think about life, okay? This is the way I think about it. You don't have to do what I'm doing. It's just the way I think about it. I don't need to worry about going to hell because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anybody. If somebody says, if you don't worship me, you're going to hell, that doesn't really seem right to me. I'm not doing anything wrong. If you're saying I'm not operating in the design, that makes sense. I might go to hell. Yeah, because I'm not operating within God's design, which is doing the things I'm supposed to do for myself and be in alignment with myself. But where does it say you need to be like a slave? You understand? The point is that people forgot. They forgot. And because they forgot, they're being taken advantage of, right? So there's this like really funny video which I may show, but it was on TikTok, and there's this lady. She's basically like pointing at this boomer, and she's like, "Oh, she's like laughing, "Oh, you pickle-headed, not-nosed mother effer," or whatever. She's like saying everything to this guy, which is like funny, but you're really missing the whole point. The whole point of this is to make it a spiritual endeavor. And in the past, that's why they had particular chants and, "Hey, no, we won't go," that kind of thing. There's stuff like that, but it's not the same. You get it? And this is different because you're doing something that's not natural to you. That's not natural. What is the natural way of getting order? It's to pray. We're all going to pray for you guys. We're going to hope that one day you all get healed because you guys need it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And do some dances. We're going to do a dance. Come on, let's get this guy's face. Let's get a picture of this dude. Everybody, we got about 500 people there. Everybody, look at this guy's face. Keep this mind in your eye, and we're going to pray that he learns from the error of his ways and from doing the wrong thing. That's really enough to hurt somebody. But that's why people don't. That's why Haiti is in the condition it's in now, because they know that like if this shit happens, the people figure out this shit like voodoo and stuff. Then it's like, oh shit, we better stop, because it's all real at the end of the day. Okay, and if the person is not doing anything wrong, nothing's going to happen to them. That's how this works. Okay, when people do bad things, they're building up negative karma. The whole point is for you to not really understand that. Okay? All you have to do is say, we see you. We see exactly what you're doing, and we're going to pray for you. Yeah, we're going to pray for you. Somebody go get this Emmy. Somebody go get this stuff. Go get the whatever it is. The turmeric. You can just make it up some shit. You can make it whatever it is. Put some spices on it. Give them diarrhea or something. Whatever, right? Okay. Let's stir it up. Make the energy right. And we're going to pray. God, please guide us through everything that we've been doing. Thank you for continuing to all these things that are happening to us, all these like protests or whatever it is. Thank you for allowing us to see the truth, because really what's happening is really a blessing. It's for you to see the truth for what it is, and for the world to see it for what it is. And we hope that now that the world sees things for what they are, everybody comes back onto the right track and does the right thing according to your word, right? According to natural law, according to God's law, right? Doesn't matter if there's aliens or not. Doesn't matter if there's whatever. We're talking about order, right? And those people will be in order, and we guide us to that solution, as well as please teach them whatever they need to know that they should be in line with order and your design. Thank you. That's it. Person, probably they'll fall down the steps, break their leg, all kinds of stuff. That's it, right? You don't need to pray for that. You just praying that they're going to come into alignment with their design. That's what they're doing. You get it? Because since they're bad guys, bad things are going to happen to them to bring them back to God. That's all you got to do. That's what this whole game. But if you don't know that, then you're going to be, I hate this person. You don't need to do that. You don't need to. All right, you can still like, make it like a little theatric too, right? So you get the picture and just, shaking in front of him. Oh, they're like, what the fuck is going on? Oh yeah, it's gonna happen to you. You're gonna learn. Oh, right, and you just have everybody do it. Ooh, 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 what the fuck is going on? Right, this person, they're gonna fucking lose it. They're gonna lose it, man. Get this spirit out of them. Get this spirit out of them. Okay, I don't got one of my stuff here. I got one of my instruments. Okay, yeah, that's good enough, right? We'll use Elmo. We get Elmo. Hey, 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 get him, 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 get him. Praise. Happy. Everybody's happy. And guess what happens? He falls down the steps. He loses his marriage. He's poor. He's dumb. All the bad things that happen to him are what? Lessons. They're lessons for him and blessings for us. That's how it works. But you have to know this. You have to know it. If you don't pray for people to get healed and pray for them to grow up, then they're never going to learn. That's why I don't do anything bad. If you don't do anything bad, nothing's going to happen to them. You don't need to do nothing. You don't got to do anything bad. That's why I said, if you're ever in a dangerous mode, oh man, I'm going to pray for you, man. You're going to need this. Woo, woo. I'm going to pray. You do your stance. Guide me, Father. Please guide me to whatever it is what I'm supposed to do. Align me with the right energy. Please let this person, allow them not to hurt anybody else. Let them learn exactly what they need to be learning and everything that they need to be doing to be on the right path and righteousness and this, that, and the other. You can see them. They can watch you. Come on, man. You don't have to get mad. You don't got, that's wrong what you're doing. You're taking my rights away. That's the game. You playing the wrong game. You're not playing by God's design. If you're playing by God's design, you don't got to do nothing. You just, that's what you want to do? Don't worry. We'll have 150 choir members here to do this, right? Everybody, come on, stop. Boom, doom, 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 doom. Stop, stop, shake, shake, stop, stop, shake, shake. Raise it. Come on, raise the energy. Right? Now, they don't know what the fuck is going on because they're not really spiritually connected anyway, so they're going to be shitting themselves anyway, but then to actually bad things to happen to them is going to be even worse. Okay? Just hope this makes sense, okay? Now, I'm going to say this last part, okay? Eventually, one day I'll be going too, right? We'll all be going, but I'll maybe show up in another body or whatever happens, right? The point is this. It's okay to call on certain energies in order to get done certain tasks. If you need to do that, okay? Because you're never going to just be able to, sometimes I forget people don't really do this stuff. So I do this all the time. So I'm never I'm always myself, but I'm always versions of myself depending on how do I need to be right now? I remember I was doing the spiritual thing. Okay. And I was doing all my stuff, my spiritual stuff. I was like, okay, I need to do this business thing right now because I need to get this money so I can handle some other stuff. So that put me back in business mode, right? So I'm more Dan Kennedy-esque, more marketing, and that mindset. Okay, but I'm still using all the other skills that I've learned, like Dormadan, like alignment and spirituality with Ken Rick and all this other stuff. So I'm still doing this stuff, but the point is that I use it very particularly. I use things very particularly, so it allows me to grow pretty much faster too because I'm channeling in the energy. Now, that's what I believe, okay? Now, if you don't believe that, that's fine too. You don't have to, but it works for me. And I figured I'd share that with you, right? And if somebody's trying to harness me, what you're really harnessing is to get control over your life. That's what you're really harnessing, okay? But sometimes it's hard to watch a video and think you're going to be able to do that. That's why I say, no, talk to me one-on-one. I'll tell you exactly how to think, exactly what to do. So that way, when you do come to a moment, you can summon me in that moment in your mind and say, okay, what would Carlos do in this situation? He would say, oh, I wasn't in alignment. And I wasn't in control of the situation because whenever bad people are in control, things go bad. And that's what I did. I let go. I gotta be the dad and I gotta be this other person. Okay. That's what I have to do. And then you'll remember, oh, that's right. That's it. Right. But that's the game. That's why we are here to learn from each other. That's the whole game. All the people I've learned from, I'm sharing it with you. And now it's your turn to share with others. Right. But at the same time, it's important to, obviously you still need to start a business. You're going to need to do one anyway, right? That's how it goes. But that's how you get into alignment. That's how you get there. You don't get to alignment by not starting a business. You get it? It is about business too. Okay, about money. Okay, so let me just close out. So people have lost connection. It's about energy and focus on the Most High. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. You have to. It's okay to do some theatrics with this stuff as well. For people who don't know what's going on, it's like it's okay, right? But you just round up like 150 to 500 people if you're going to protest. Here's the script. Here's what we're going to be doing. Everybody, put this in your mind's eye. You need a prayer person. This is what we're praying for. We're praying for this person gets healed. We need them to be healed. We need them to be guided towards the right path, right? They're going to be breaking their leg and everything else because that's like how you get healed. You get healed by getting kicked in the nuts long enough. And they're going to come back to God or whatever God they worship or love or whatever it is, and then they're going to do the right thing. But nobody's doing that anymore. Nobody's doing that. They're just, you should be taking away my rights, and you're not praying for these people, man. You got to pray, man. You know? You need to channel energy. Okay? So, that being said, let's do it together, okay? For the people who watch this, you got this far. Okay, we're going to channel. Okay, we're going to use Elmo, and we got some pills here for the sound. Right? Raise it. Right, we're here. We're in an altered state. God, thank you for everything that you've been doing for us. Please continue to guide us down the right journey and send us on your path, on your design. We know whatever that it is that you're guiding us down is the right way. Allow us to receive guidance in all ways, and let us be called through whatever it is that you think we need to do next. Okay, so we're listening to you, okay? For the people over there in Tennessee and all this other Republican nonsense or whatever, anybody that's racist or whatever, please teach them that what they need to know. Please guide them through the process of doing the right thing and being in alignment with your will. Anybody that's blocking out the sun or doing any of this other wicked stuff, please show them that, it's not okay to do that. And, what else? What else we got? Please let them stop messing with the food. Please let them stop with this whole silly stuff with the war. Please let them stop all this other nonsense, and bring them back home. If they need to, whatever you feel like they need to do, if they need to, destroy themselves, let them do it. Whatever you think is right. But please teach them. Please teach them the error of their ways. They need it. They need it, and yeah. Please, and for the people who really don't know any better, please heal them. For the people who are just lost, I think what the best thing is. So please take care of that as well. Just please keep guiding us. Please keep guiding us down the right path, and let people learn that to come back home and to channel the right energy in order to live right by you and your design, and let us to continue to be happy and win, because everything's actually perfect as it is. It's just people are allowing themselves to get tricked. So thank you for everything. Please continue to guide us, and just teach the ones who need to learn. Teach the ones who need to learn, and the people who don't need to learn, please allow them to witness what's going on, so that way they can basically bear witness to how this works. Okay, so thank you for everything. Thank you for all the leaders and spiritual people in my life, and all the people who basically chose to watch this. Please guide them as well. Just thank you for just the collective energy of just guiding us through whatever this is, right? Whatever is happening down here, I'm still figuring it out. Nobody kind of knows, but we're still guessing. But just thank you for everything, and we're just ready to continue to enjoy the experience. And we really want these guys to learn, though. So please show them that they should not be doing this. And let our people be safe. Let them be covered, and in all ways. And thank you just for everything that you've been doing. Okay, so amen. All right, so that's it. That's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember, that's how you do this stuff. It's not really that hard. You just pray, man. Like that's it. But you do it the right way. You do it the right way, right? You don't want anybody to be harmed that's not doing the wrong thing, but you don't want people to be harmed anyway. But they're gonna. That's how you learn. You learn by getting your nuts kicked in. Okay, that's if you're not coming home to the right design. Okay, and that's it. I talked about like summoning me if you need it, or channeling me if you need that energy at that time. I talked about that, right? Because remember, that's the Most High. The rest of the stuff is just energies, frequencies, and stuff like this, in my opinion, right? So it's like, okay, what you need? You need Jesus. You need, because if you listen to Jesus, that's a very particular thing. Not really a business guy. You know, if you're trying to work accountant numbers, then you're going to need to channel that, right? If you're trying to do spirituality, you're going to need to channel that. You get what I'm saying? So it's all this other things, and then when you're all combined, now you got what you need, and you're yourself, of course, but then you're just connected to the Most High when there's not a person there that you can describe what's going on, right? But it's okay to channel certain energies, but that's the Most High, and that's what you connect to, okay? That makes sense, all right? See you. Bye-bye.